So, in today's episode of This Is Why You Don't Argue with Strangers on the Internet, we're going to be talking about something that happened over on the dumpster fire that is X that I find to be absolute comedic gold. So, Elon Musk gave a new feature which would show where the accounts are based. And, folks, it turns out that Maga is pretty damn popular, but not in the United States. So, the next time that you're over on Twitter and you start to get into an argument with someone, before you do, just pump the brakes and say to yourself, where is this account based? Who exactly am I talking to here? I'm going to show you some of these pictures. To me, this is absolute comedic gold. So right here we have Trump is my president. Now it was joined in August of 2022, but the account is based in Macedonia. Then we have the Maga Beacon, date October of 2025, but from Southeast Asia. Then we have Dark Maga, based in Thailand. Over here we have Maga Warrior, and they're based in South Asia. Check this one out here. Joe Rogan Podcast News. They joined in 2013, but they're based in East Asia and the Pacific. And even old Baron Trump's got one, but the account was joined in 2024, but it is based in Eastern Europe. And this one right here, folks, is my absolute favorite and probably the most fitting America First account based in Bangladesh. So the next time you're over on Twitter and your blood starts to boil and you start to get really upset at someone you're arguing with, just stop and realize that this is Elon Musk's playground for his own ego. That truly is all that it is. And I really do believe that, when we go back and we try to figure out how Donald Trump made it back to power, you can point to a whole lot of things. But I really do believe that when Elon Musk purchased Twitter, and then allowed all of the hatred, all the propaganda, and all the bullshit to just flood the zone. And it became a right-wing dumpster fire. When that happened, that is what I believe gave Donald Trump more traction than he ever could have got anywhere else. Because if Twitter had just stayed the same and nothing had changed, I don't think that it would look the same. I really don't. I'm not saying that's the only thing or the only factor that had anything to do with it, but I do believe it had a whole lot to do with it. And I believe this is nothing more than a way for Elon Musk to stroke his ego. Now, they always talk about their conspiracy theories. They always talk about the deep state. They always talk about the swamp. But I view Elon Musk and Donald Trump as just that. And I believe that ever since Donald Trump has been back in power, he's pretty much proved to us that he is the deep state. He is the swamp. And I think Elon Musk is one of his biggest swamp rats who looked over, saw Twitter, and he tried to pass it off like, oh, I'm going to do it. It's going to be a digital town square. It's going to be where everybody can come and bring their ideas to the table and exchange ideas freely. When he says it, if you've never seen the guy and know nothing about him, when you hear him say that, you say to yourself, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. But really quickly, it just turned into a place for racist propaganda to grow. And you can go back to like when Elon first bought the platform. Remember what happened with Don Lemon? He had Don Lemon a show and quickly kicked Don Lemon off when Don interviewed him and pissed him off so bad that he pretty much put him off of Twitter after that. I don't know why that people takes Twitter seriously, but to me, it ain't no different than the National Enquirer, the rag papers that you're standing in the grocery store looking over at. I remember back when I was a kid, there used to be this black and white one. It might still exist for all I know. Y'all can tell me in the comments if it does. But it would be like, man survives the electric chair, or man falls from a plane and bounces twice and gets up and walks away from it, or woman gives birth to a chimpanzee or an elephant. It would just be the most ridiculous stuff you ever seen. And you would look at it and roll your eyes, and you never paid for it. But we live in a world today where people are buying that rag paper, and it's called X. And it's nothing more than a place for Elon's propaganda to grow. And I believe he looked over and he saw a way to create his own echo chamber to control the narrative. And every conspiracy theory that they've ever pumped at us about the deep state and how they go about brainwashing people is exactly what Elon is doing over on Twitter. I still have an account that just lays over there. And I still go over there and check out what's going on because I do believe we need to know what it is they're saying and doing. I believe we need to keep our finger on their pulse to see, where they're still at with everything because we don't need nothing to sneak up on us later. But I don't post original content there hardly ever because I don't want to give this dude my money. And I sure as hell ain't going to pay for a blue check mark to Elon Musk. There's no way in hell that I'm going to pay for that. Now, I know there's some people that he just gave that blue check mark to. It's like, hey, wait, I ain't paying for this damn thing. There's so much BS over there that it's just truly sickening. And then you have Grok. You have the whole thing with Grok, which is his AI, which he is tweaking to pretty much just blow his own self. That's what he does. If you go ask Grok anything about Elon Musk, it will tell you that Elon could beat LeBron James in a game of basketball or knock out Mike Tyson in a fight. That's the way that he's got this thing rigged. And then people sits back and just fangirls out over this dude like he's somebody, like he's special, like he's important. And he's nothing more, just like Bill Burr said, he's that nerd that got picked on back in school that one day said, I'm going to get you all back for all the times you picked on me. And now here he is with his racism and his propaganda having a megaphone. And there's people like Joe Rogan that'll sit and say, oh, X is the most dependable place for news. If you think X is the most dependable place for news, then I'm sure you think Hulk Hogan actually beat Andre the Giant. You know, it's that ridiculous to me. It's actually, wrestling is way more real than anything that you will see on X. But this gives people a place to go and feel powerful. And there are so many people who, I'm sure there are real people on Twitter. I'm not saying that they're not. I'm not saying that everything over there is bots. But there's a whole lot of people. It's like, oh boy, Maga Nation retweeted what I posted. Or Trump is my president chimed in to comment on mine. They were helping me give them hell. And it was probably nothing more than a fake account that was just there to stir the pot. And while we're on this subject of fake bullshit on the internet, one of the emails I get on a daily basis, and I'm sorry I can't reply to all of them because my inboxes are so overflowing these days, but one of the things that's happening is there is fake Tennessee Brando accounts everywhere now, on every platform. This is my YouTube channel that you're watching right here. It's my only YouTube channel. If you see Brando's Voice or Brando Unplugged or Appalachian Underground or Marlon Brando Jr., there are so many out there, and people message me all the time. Is this you? Are you Brando 316? No, I'm not. I'm none of those things. This is it. I have my official accounts on the platforms, but there's all sorts of fakes, all sorts of clones. And they have tried every way in the world to scam listeners. I've had people reach out and say, hey, Brando, are you giving away a guitar? And I'm like, no, I'm not having a contest. Or, hey, are you needing help writing a song, Brando? No, I don't need any help writing any songs. It's crazy. So I want to go ahead and clarify that while we're on this subject of fake bullshit on the internet. But it's one of the reasons why that I don't spend a whole lot of time diving deep into my comment section. Now, I do pay attention to it more these days than I have in the past. I do believe it's important to keep your finger on the pulse of what your audience is enjoying and what they're not enjoying. But it's pretty easy for me to pick out these MAGA bots a mile away. And that's one of the reasons why I don't let that negativity get under my skin too deep. I don't let it really bother me. I just let it roll off of me because I say to myself, wait a minute, MAGA Warrior's pissed at me. But where is MAGA Warrior based? And who is sitting there running that control board? And then I'm sure there's a lot of people, I know this to be true. There's a lot of people who have fake accounts that don't have the balls to put themselves out there the way that we do every day. You know, you can say what you want about content creators. You can say what you want about any of us. You can have your opinions of us. You're free to have your opinions. But we put ourselves out there for the world to see. You can see our face. You can hear our voice. This is us. This ain't AI. I'm not a bot. I'm the real deal. And, we put ourselves out there. And when we do, we put ourselves in a lot of danger. We get death threats all the time. We get hate mail constantly. It's crazy. It really is a crazy world. And sometimes I say to myself, I'm just sitting here talking about, in my mind, logic and common sense. I'm just sitting here talking about fairness. I'm sitting here talking about people being paid fairly, workers being paid fairly. I'm talking about, universal health care. I'm talking about women having control over their own bodies. I'm speaking against racism and bigotry and homophobia. How am I the bad guy and how am I getting all these threats? But we do, and we have to take them seriously. But I don't take the comment section very seriously when I see these types of accounts. And then when I also know that some of those people behind those accounts are people that I know that just ain't got the balls to put themselves out there. And that's why that I just, on the Facebook platform, I just block those people. I just get rid of them on those platforms where you got the block feature. Because if you can't bring to the table, your real self, then I don't really have no interest in it. I really don't. Because I'll tell you all a funny story, and I won't bust the person's balls. I'm not going to call this person out. But one day, I had a theory. There was a person on Facebook that I was like, I know who that is. I know who it is because it talks too much like this person who I know. And so I would sit there and used to I would go back and forth with this person because I knew who it was. And one day, the real person commented on one of my things. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. He did it with his real face. He did it with his real self. This is him. And I chimed in, hey, buddy, how you doing? I ain't seen you in a long time. And immediately it flipped back to the other guy arguing with me. The guy that was disappeared. And I think he probably got drunk and accidentally commented from his real profile. And that's one of the reasons why that I don't get too bent out of shape over my comment section or dive too deep in it, because of that type of bullshit. I love hearing from y'all. I love hearing your comments. I love hearing what you got on your mind. I read them, but I don't get focused on the hate, and I don't get focused on the bullshit that's in there. And you shouldn't either. If you have people picking on you in my comment sections, the next time you waste energy arguing with that person, just stop, pump the brakes, and say, wait a minute, that video Brando did, I could be arguing with some account based in Southeast Asia or Thailand or Bangladesh. America first in Bangladesh. That's kind of sad, but that's what you got to look out for. So I appreciate y'all, and I'll say to you all the time, hey, leave a comment. Let me know how you feel. And I try to sift through them these days and pick out the ones that I know are real and true. And the ones that are just there to stir the pot and keep everybody divided, I try to stay away from them, and you should too. So just remember that the next time that you're sitting on the internet and someone has got your blood boiling. Don't waste your energy on that. Really, I don't believe that any of us should. I believe we're living in one of the darkest times. It's very depressing. And I have people all the time reach out to me and ask me how to, help take care of your mental health and how to, how to do everything and get through this crazy world. And I always say, well, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychologist. I don't have all the answers, but I just always tell people to, put your family first, take care of your family and your kids and spend time with them and do things that brings you joy in this world. But don't sit and spend a lot of your time diving into these dumpster fire comment sections, and don't spend a lot of time diving into these arguments with people that you don't even know who is. Or if you do know who they are and they're arguing with you, just, bust their balls at work and say, hey, stop hiding behind that fake account and say it to my face. There's too much negativity in this world for us to focus on it. So just try to focus on the positive, and we'll keep moving forward. But X is my absolute least favorite platform. I think it's an absolute dumpster fire. I think it's nothing but propaganda. I don't take anything seriously on it. I really don't. I know there's a lot of good people over there that still tries to hang in there and fight the good fight. And my hat's off to you for trying. I understand that argument too, that, hey, we got to keep taking the fight to these people. But at the same time, don't let it drag you down. That's my message on it. Just don't let it bring you down. Don't let it defeat you, because everything's too dark these days for us to be worrying about those things and fighting with somebody that's based in Southeast Asia, just some bot that they've got that's created there to help stir the pot. So I want to thank you all so much for subscribing to this channel, and thank you all so much for leaving your comments. Thank you all for engaging and having the conversations. But always know that if someone is, talking trash to you, just pump the brakes before you waste a lot of your time talking trash back. And I only have one platform on every platform. I have my Tennessee Brando YouTube channel. I'm TN_Brando on Instagram. I'm Tennessee Brando spelled all the way out on Facebook. I'm TN_Brando on TikTok. I've got my real accounts, but there's so many imposters out there. Some that are AI that are pretty comical. I have those too. I guess that's just part of having a large platform. But just know that I appreciate y'all so much for helping us to build this platform. And this platform, in my mind, is one built on truth, one built on logic and reason, one built on basic human decency. And I appreciate you all so much for coming along. That's why that, I chime in. Like when people messages me and says, hey, I'm being bullied and harassed in this comment section, I find that person that's doing it and I block them immediately. I've had several people reach out and say, hey, this person said racist crap to me. This person said misogynistic, bigoted shit to me. And I say to them, tell me what the profile name is. I go check out the situation. Boom, you're out of here, because I don't want that to be what our platform becomes. I want our platform to be a place where we can exchange ideas freely without people muddying the water. So on that note, I hope everyone has a great day, and thank you so much for supporting what I do.